Hi, Aries. Sorry about that. So this is my first weekend off in 6 weeks, which means I've been working with the exception of getting sick from my first flu shot ever. This is the first time that I've had 2 days off in I think it's like 60 some days. We're going to do your Samhain reading. I know it's a little late. Bear with me. We're going to start with an oracle message, but we're also going to do your songs, all that kind of stuff. We're going to roll into some magnetic poetry. We're going to do your read. We're going to go through all 12 months that are coming up for you. We'll clarify with the Deviant Moon Tarot. We're going to use the Santa Muerte Tarot for you. Now your songs, everything. Oh, by the way, everything that you need to know is in the description box of the video, including how you can look up your natal chart. This is for your sun, moon, and rising sign. Of course, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't your sun sign. And I will have timestamps. This is going to be a very long reading, which is why I've had so much trouble getting to everybody's readings, is because these are like an hour and a half long. So again, there will be timestamps. For your songs, we are looking at Let It Be by the Beatles. And it's interesting because there's something about There Will Be an Answer that popped out really huge in that song. Was There Will Be an Answer. Love, Hate, and Tragedy. There was something about a purpose. I think I found my purpose was a part of that song that stood out. So there's something about searching for an answer and then searching for your purpose, or I think I found my purpose. And then your rainy sound, something about loving the way somebody bounces back or loving the way that you bounce back. And then Like a Prayer. In that song, there was just like a mystery, or just like a dream, you're not what you seem to be. And then Let the Choir Sing. That was a huge piece in that song. And then Sin and Sacrifice. Old habits die hard, and God lives so fast. And I know it's a long way down. It's a long, long way between sin and sacrifice. What is your will? That was a part. What is your will? There is something here with the songs that has to do with finding one's purpose, seeking answers, finding what one's will is, or finding what the will of the universe is. The end and no beginning, the beginning and no end, the circle with no beginning or end. And sacrifices and bouncing back and finding answers and purpose seems to be something huge in that. So just check out those songs. Something might resonate for you in there. We're going to go ahead with the Divine Circus Oracle, and we're going to get your message, your oracle message. I do want to make sure that you're aware I don't normally, when I do use oracle cards, which isn't often, I don't typically read from the book, but because we are doing your Wheel of the Year reading for Samhain, which I know is 15 days past at this point, it's important that we do read from the book for this one. And there's a little affirmation that comes with each of these. It's a little hokey, and I know that a lot of people don't really do those, but if you're super esoteric, you might want to. Again, this is for your whole year, and I've pre-shuffled the cards, but for the purposes of doing these readings, I'm going to make sure that we shuffle on camera. I normally do anyway, which is fine. During the shuffle, of the shuffle of the cards, I will be making sure that I do channel as well. And when I hear ringing in my ears on the right, they're messages from my spirit guides. When I hear them on the left, they're messages from people I know that have passed on. Let's go ahead and let's see for you what your message is. 37, Silver Siren. That reminds me of, what is it? Something Silver or Silvery Something or something like that by Smashing Pumpkins. 37, 10 breaking down to a 1, so endings and beginnings. Kind of like what we heard in those songs. No end and no beginning. Let's find it for you. Oh, of course, it's got to be bridging a couple of pages here for you. Silver Siren, 37. The modern world, perhaps especially in the spiritual field, is laden with false light. This is the light that blinds and obscures rather than clarifies and reveals. False light is that which might seem dazzling on the surface, but underneath is nothing but hot air at its best, and destructive energy that will rot your soul at worst. False light is the opportunity so intoxicating that even selling your soul to have it seems rational, or the person so alluring that you are willing to deny your basic needs for respect and acknowledgement in order to spend even just a moment by their side. The false light is a seduction, a siren song, a promise of whatever it is you feel you cannot have unless you compromise your integrity to get it. There is just one lesson to be learned through the siren song, the same lesson always, no matter what the circumstances may be. If you compromise your integrity, you will find that you have obtained what was not worth the price you paid for it, no matter how much you believed it would be otherwise. It simply will not be worthwhile. Silver Siren comes to you when you are one of the souls with enough discernment, strength, and integrity to be able to say no to the enchantment that will not enhance your life but slowly and surely destroy it. Sorry, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble reading. The small compromise of your self-esteem would seem innocuous enough at first, but with cajoling and manipulation would continue and eventually erode at your soul until you no longer believe yourself capable of living your best life, of receiving genuine love and affection, of having anything of value to share with the world. To disempower the false light, you must stay true to what your heart says. No matter how much you may fear you'll regret it later on, simply say no to whatever, that which is unworthy, to that which does not hold the truth of love within. Even if, by all appearances, a person declares they are utterly enlightened and only interested in your highest good, even if the opportunity at hand is too good to miss, making your mind needy and confused, when what you feel in your heart is that you really should give it a miss, simply say no. When Silver Siren sings her song to you, know that you are being given an opportunity for empowerment. This is the opportunity to trust yourself and stand firm in your truths and to experience the priceless sense of love, safety, security, peace, and self-possession that this brings. With this, your soul can sing its own song, a song that shares true light, the lightness of a heart that lives in peaceful truth with the world. A healing trick that comes with this is to relax and close your eyes for several moments. Now you are going to visualize, imagine, feel, or pretend that there's a very pretty light in front of you. It's all sparkly and shiny, but something about it doesn't feel quite right. Using your superpowers of imagination, you are able to look inside, behind the surface appearance, to see what is really behind that sparkling pretty light. You see, sense, feel, or smell a stinky toxic gas. The gases are releasing toxic substances that are very unhealthy, perhaps even dangerous. Say aloud 3 times. Shiny though you appear to be, I do not wish you near me. Go away without delay, never to return. I embrace the real light of love. All else I choose to spurn. The sparkling light disappears, never to return. You now see, sense, feel, or visualize a beautiful, softly glowing light. It feels good. It is love. You can use your powers of imagination to see inside the light, to perceive what it is truly made of. You see a beautiful golden face that smiles at you. You feel loved. You feel blessed. You feel seen and heard and protected. You relax and know that the universe is always looking out for you. Rest for a few moments, basking in the soft, warm glow of that real, loving light. There is also an affirmation that comes with this card, saying, I recognize the truth behind the light. My heart instinctively recognizes what is right. And that's your dealie there. So, now we're going to move on to your magnetic poetry. I'm just doing timestamps as I go. And this is for your year. I'm doing this in list format now instead of doing it in any other manner because I don't want anybody to think that I'm impressing upon them specific sentences. So, bear with me while we go ahead and we're going to dig around and we're going to mix it up. Make sure that you're not getting the same messages as anybody else just because it's been thrown back in the box. Don't seem to be a lot of things that you're getting here. There is R and D or P. Okay, that's 3. And I'm just going to take a moment here to pause for a second. And we're going to go into your shuffle now. We're using the Santa Muerte Tarot. And like I said, we'll be channeling through this. We are going to go ahead and we're going to do all 12 months of the year, beginning with November for you. Again, like I said, when I hear ringing in my ears on the left, those are messages from my spirit guides. And when I hear there's breathlessness, I don't know why, but when I sit down, I get the breathlessness here. Anxiety over something, something of trepidation, something that gets you breathing heavy, hard, fast. But yeah, when I hear ringing in my ears on the right, then there are messages from my spirit guides. We're going to go through all 12 months, and then I will go into the read and clarification with the Deviant Moon Tarot. I've already pre-shuffled the cards, but then again, I want to make sure that everybody sees that I'm also shuffling on camera, which I do anyway, every other read anyway, but you know, just like a prayer, I'll take you there. Just like a mystery. These cards are a little stiff, and my hands are bothering me. Ever since I got my shots, I've had some joint pain, so bear with me. I can't just make it happen like I would like with these. I might as well just mess them up on the table like I'm 6 years old at this point, really. That one wanted to jump, but we aren't going to do that. Twist for fairness for you. Aries. And I am an Aries rising, so it's interesting that we ended up with a delay here. Again, if you want to check where your placements are, you need to know the time that you were born. You obviously know where you were born. And you can go to in the description box, there's a place that you can go to get an extremely comprehensive natal chart that will tell you your rising sign, your moon sign. Okay. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, what is your November energy? Actually, before we do that, I apologize. We have these that we will also use. We will use a Deftones Major Arcana Tarot to get your main theme for the year. I didn't get a chance to mention that. And I can't remember if I did that before or if I did that during the read. November 2024 for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Okay. And by the way, I only take flippers and jumpers. I don't pull. And maximum of 3. We have the Ace of Wands. It's funny, I was thinking the Ace of Wands here. Ace of Wands. I've got a new setup, new camera, all that kind of stuff, so I'm just getting used to it, especially with the glossiness of each. Some cards have a glossy finish, some have a matte finish. And so the glossy ones aren't working so well on camera sometimes. Okay. December. The Page of Wands in the upright. January 2025 for Aries. January 2025. The Hierophant in the reverse. February 2025. Take 3. I take a max of 3, and we got 3. February is a big month for you. We have the Empress in the upright, the Star in the reverse, and the 5 of Wands. Again, we'll go into depth and we'll clarify on the read. Remember, I will be putting timestamps. March 2025 for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Something about putting things in order. Putting things in order, arranging things just so. For March in particular. Making sure things are organized. He's got to be organized. He has to be organized. 2 cups. April. April. April for Aries. April. April. Somebody's named April. Somebody's name is April. April. That one, yeah, it flipped anyway. Page of Cups in the reverse. No more tears. No more tears. January is April showers. And 2 always makes 5. May for Aries. Queen of Pentacles. June. January has April showers. There's something going on in January that's related to somebody named April, or January is directly connected with April. And 2 always makes 5, which means there's somebody that's connected with a 3 because it makes 5 change. Okay. June. With the King of Pentacles. Or sorry, the Queen of Swords. Jesus. June is the Queen of Swords. July. Excuse me. Landed on Pisces, by the way. Landed on Piscean energy. The Nine of Cups. August. Energy for August. Four Cups in the reverse. September. Jeez, you're speaking to me now. I can't take that many. September. September. Always makes a 5. 7 of Pentacles. And finally, October 2025 for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. We have 3. The Chariot, the Magician in the reverse, and Temperance, the Trickster. Somebody who's a Gemini, Cancer, cusp individual. All major arcana for October. Bottom of the deck for your year, we have 3 of Wands in the reverse. Impatience. Impatience is indicative here with the 3 of Wands in the reverse. The inability to wait any longer. The feeling of shit or get off the pot, for lack of a better term. More than likely somebody is feeling quite impatient about taking action on something. Or feeling like there is like a need to act. This year. This is the year. This is the year where hope fails you. There's a thing at the beginning of a song called Pulse of the Maggots by Slipknot. This is the year where hope fails you. Experiment. In the bastards, you know it's a hero you hate. But anything is cohesing is possible if we try. There's no reason, no lesson, no time like the present. Something right now. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose except your soul? It's like it comes in and out like sound bites, right? So another theme of your year we're going to talk about right now, it has to do with the Major Arcana by the Deftones. It's a deck that's just Major Arcana cards. It's going to talk about your theme for the year. And then we'll get into clarification for you. I think it's interesting that we hit 20 minutes exactly for your timestamp for the read and clarification. 20, or the year 20, or the age of 20, or 20 breaking down to 2 could be a number of significance for you. 2 and 2 always makes 5. Something doesn't add up. He's listening. He's listening. So when I do these readings, I do want to make sure that you're aware. I don't hear I or you. I hear it in they or he or she. And so it's like I'm getting the messages in a way where it's like telling me about a person. Because it's not my reading, right? And if it is my reading, I'll get it later when I listen back to it. Because I'm an Aries rising. But I'll see here. What is your major theme for the year, Aries? Aries, what is your major theme for the year? What is your archetype for the year? Okay. The world in the reverse. No end and no beginning. Just like in Like a Prayer. It's like an infinity loop, or bang your head against the wall, see if it still hurts. The merry-go-round of crazy. Reconciliation. That things coming back that are unfinished business. Something that isn't ending. It doesn't end. Jesus, it never ends. It never ends. Something doesn't end. There's something here that lacks completion. Unfinished business. A project that there's no end in sight. This is a year of things continuing. Rather than tying up loose ends. We'll see how it goes throughout your reading. We're going to clarify everything using the Deviant Moon Tarot. It's small. I will clarify using 3 cards unless I get flippers and jumpers more. But it's going to be about 3 cards each time unless I hit the 3rd card and we get more than that. Tell me about sacrifices and how one feels guilty about their sacrifices. But in looking at November, we can already kind of start with November here being the Ace of Wands in the upright. Ace of Wands in the upright. Ace of Wands in the upright is initiation, beginnings of a creative sense, projects, passion projects, ideas, inspiration, the matchstick of the divine. It is the striking of the match that creates illumination, but it's also the spark of inspiration, creativity, beginnings, passionate new beginnings. Other people always like to kind of ascribe to this card the phallic symbol, so it can also be a passionate beginning or somebody being turned on by something sexually. Somebody, you know. Okay, let's go. Tell us more about this in November. I saw the sun in the reverse. Could be a Leo energy. Okay. Knight of Wands in the reverse. Sagittarian energy. So it's like even though you have a passionate beginning, creative interests, new ideas being sparked within you, you're holding back on taking passionate action. You feel like the time isn't right. That strike while the iron is hot isn't necessarily there, even though you understand that there is a new idea, inspiration kind of brewing within you. You might be trepidatious about starting something new from a heated, fiery place because you don't want that spontaneity to burn out too quickly. You might also be considering trying to be more careful with your energy because starting out too quickly could also spark. It's like that sparkle and fade type of thing. What else for November on the Ace of Wands? Tell us more specifically about this Knight of Wands. Why the Knight of Wands in the reverse? It's also Sagittarian energy, by the way. You're worried about being left out in the cold, and you're not necessarily confident about it because you don't believe that you have a union of mind, body, and spirit that's happening right now. You could be feeling imbalanced, and you could also be looking at contracts, negotiations, and something starting, an offer of some sort starting. And so because of that, you're worried about being left out in the cold. I'm worried that people are watching and keeping an eye on you in terms of these contracts, and so you're trying not to look irresponsible in your moves, as if, you know, because if you were to come out not like this but like this, all like guns a-blazing, and then this contract, this offer may not happen. You know that the eyes are on you. You know that the eyes are on you. And so you don't want to be left out in the cold. This is a feeling rather than a reality with the Five of Pentacles. But it's more about realizing that you don't want to be left out in the cold. And so you're not going to come out looking irresponsible, irrational in your decision making. When it comes to this new creative endeavor or this initiation of some sort, you're looking for it to be a tangible offer. And so you want to seem balanced in your decision making. You don't want to seem as if you're too emotional, erring on the side of too spiritual. You want to be balanced in between all of your energies. In December, we have the Page of Wands, which is communication that's a little bit more passionate and fiery. It could be somebody who wants to communicate something, and it's more than likely you communicating something from the passionate side of things, excited and inspired and creative, even communicating something sexual. But let's see what we have in terms of that. Tell us about the Page of Wands. You're trying to come from an ignorance is bliss standpoint on it. Somebody might be communicating to you, but you're trying to ignore it, or you're trying to kind of respond from an, oh, I barely noticed type of headspace, you know, really? I didn't even notice. I didn't, you know, no. It's kind of like that Gemini energy on that. But you're trying to feign ignorance. It's also avoiding looking at something with that Knight of Swords there. Avoiding looking at something, or avoiding impulsivity, avoiding responding to a passionate communication from an impulsive space. Trying not to take action from a space that's going to be cutting. You might be aware that in the past your responses to things have been, you know, that silver tongue energy, that like taking action has kind of hindered you more than helped you in the past, because your communication has come off the wrong way, or the action that you've taken in response to heated communication has left you looking as if you're irrational, or you don't think things through before you take action on them. So you're holding back and kind of observing rather than taking action from a space that's like shooting from the hip. Devil energy and the Emperor in the reverse. Yeah, there's fear here with the Devil. Capricorn energy with Aries energy. There's fear that you might seem as if you're like a tyrant, or ruling by fear. That's exactly like that's actually a direct translation. The ruler who rules by fear. This is often somebody who's greedy, doesn't have a profound respect for things that are built upon the earth, but also fear and obsession to the excess. With the Emperor in the reverse, that's somebody who is in leadership energy, but they're more tyrannical, an abusive father figure, somebody who abuses their power, rules with a, you know, rules from the dominant space, but dominant to the point of abuse. Somebody who is a fearmonger, somebody who rules by fear, leads with fear, right? And so that's why you're avoiding taking action from an impetuous, impulsive space, is because you don't want to lead with fear. You don't want to strike fear in others. You don't want to be the leader who kind of breaks down kicks in the door and goes, what the fuck is this shit? And strikes fear in people. You want to be a warm leader rather than a scorching leader. And so in response to this communication, you're kind of holding back and biding your time until the time is right. You can be encountering this, and your response to it might be something passionate, a passionate communication of some sort, whether it's good or bad, kind of denoted by the cards. I think the only thing that makes it not a negative thing on the responder's part is the fact that that Knight of Swords is in the reverse. It's like a preventative measure. And the reason being is because there's a need to not come across in your delivery or this other person's delivery, not to come across as somebody who leads by fear. Not to be the despot. In January, you have the Hierophant in the reverse, Taurus energy. This is a collapse of belief, philosophy, highly structured religious organizations or institutions that have values and like deeply established values and systems of thought that people live their lives by. Some people also consider the Hierophant, because it is about institutions, belief systems, that kind of thing, to be about marriage. We would have to see what the cards have to say about it. In the reverse, it can often mean also bad advice, bad spiritual advice, bad wisdom, bad sage advice from a counselor. In January, you could also be looking at divorce, because it is about, things that have to do with the church and unions that have to do with the church. Let's see. 2 and 2 always makes 5. Remember, January is April showers. 2 and 2 always makes 5. The Hierophant is the card 5 in the tarot. Let's see what we have. Why the Hierophant in the reverse? Why the Hierophant in the reverse? It's hearkening to April also, by the way. January is April showers. Judgment, there's a decision. January is April showers, and 2 always makes 5. There's a decision being made where one was once ambiguous with their energy. They're deciding, they're making a decision during January, especially since we have the Judgment card there. With the 2 of Pentacles in the reverse, no longer being ambiguous with your energy, making a decision about something that has to do with a deeply structured religious organization or institution, philosophy and belief systems. Aries energy with Taurus could be about an Aries Taurus cusp, or somebody who's born around the middle, the 7 days within Aries turning to Taurus, so April 20th to 30th. Sagittarian energy also there. January is April showers, and 2 always makes 5. January has April showers. Yeah, with the Hangman. It's after gaining perspective on something. There's something, and it's time. It's about time. There's time that's been involved where you've sat back and considered something here. The need to gain perspective. Piscean energy. Something that you've been thinking on about, Pisces season. Late February to mid-March. It's a decision that you've taken the time to try to gain perspective on, or it's a decision that you know that you're going to have to make by Pisces season. And time is ticking on making your decision. It's something that challenges your beliefs about something that was highly structured. Something of a philosophy. It's something that you always thought was true. Something that you thought you could believe in. But the decision, it's a decision that you've been juggling 2 things and trying to be diplomatic about it, but you can no longer. You know that you have time. Time is about to be up. You're being given a time limit of a couple of weeks in between middle of February to mid-March, where the decision must be made. The trumpeter's call. In February, you have a great deal of cards that have come out in February for your major energy. You have the Empress, which is a Taurus, a Libra card. It's about connecting with nature. It's also about your creativity and how you connect with the earth in order to embody a creative energy. With the star in the reverse, which is Aquarian energy, it's about healing, coming into healing, the need to heal, but also following the path that is of uh, it's like there's a realization after a connectedness with nature, or after you do something creative, after you participate in something that has to do with creativity, that brings you to a realization that you're not, I'm just going to put the Five of Wands down for now, brings you into an energy of realizing that you're not following your greatest dream, your greatest hope and wish and goal for this life, what your path was supposed to be, what your destiny was supposed to be. This is brought upon a need to heal something deep within yourself. But it's after going into a creative endeavor and coming out of it, or after connecting with nature, that you have this realization that you're not following the path that you were meant to be on. This brings about conflict, conflict with others in particular, more than likely with a Taurus, a Libra, or an Aquarius individual, because, Wands is fighting. A Five of Wands is fighting. In fact, in most tarot decks, and in the classic Rider-Waite Tarot, it is people beating each other up with sticks. So you're more than likely going to see infighting in between Taurus and Aquarians, or Libras and Aquarians, based around a creative idea, a creative endeavor, a creative project, or something that has to do with connecting with the earth, environmentalism, something to do with that. Let's see why. I think that the bigger thing here is there's a need for healing, but also that you're realizing that there's something that you've been doing that is not your path. It's not what you were meant to do, or that you've been kind of following like a false idea of what you were meant for, what you were put on this planet to do, or the dream that you thought or the wish, the goal that you thought that you were following is not your path. Tell us more, Aries, for February. Let's see what this is. And we have the Ace of Cups with the Page of Pentacles. It's after an offer falls through, because there's no communication of an offer where you're expecting there would be one. There's also an emotional beginning, an initiation of emotional sorts here. That's kind of a part of it. This could actually be a part of the conflict that's created here. Or there's initiation of some sort of emotional stirrings, but there is no offer to follow up on it. It's like you were expecting an offer to follow up on that, but it didn't happen. Tell me more, Aries. There's either a renewal or a new connection in a relationship that happens during February. That's normal because it's Valentine's Day in February anyway. But, and it might be healing for you because you realize that there is an offer that fell through. You were expecting an offer to be communicated to you and it wasn't. You might have been feeling like you put your energy into something, throwing good energy after bad. And that what you've been putting all your energy into isn't what you were meant to do. Tell me more. Oh, what's the fighting about? The Five of Wands. Five of Wands. Tell us about the Five of Wands. What's the Five of Wands about then? 2 and 2 always makes 5. Something doesn't add up. Like it's a 2 and a 2 and it makes the change, but the thing is it should be a 3 to make the change, but the change doesn't happen, or the change does happen even though you're kind of ramming it down the throats of people because it shouldn't add up to that. It doesn't add up, but we're still making it happen anyway. Like, tell me more. You've been barking up the wrong tree. You've been barking up the wrong tree. It's a self-talk. There's a self-talk here about barking up the wrong tree. You can scream and shout. Shit. That's too many, but we have a flipper here. Let me just take these back. We have this one. The Ace of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, there's no creative beginning here. There's no inspiration. There's a lack of inspiration or creative beginning. You're just not inspired by something. It's like something stirs your heart, but then at the same time, there's something that isn't inspiring you. There's fighting about it. It's because you know it's not your path. You're being forced to go along with something that's not inspiring you. It's not getting you to a place where you want to get up every morning and go to it. You know, it's not letting that. It's not. Because the offer you really wanted isn't coming. So it's like just everything is like, you know, when you got that spark, that creative spark to do something, and it just puts a spring in your step, and every day you can't wait to get to it. And you're not feeling that anymore. You don't feel like that what you want is, you know, you're not getting what you want. You don't think you're going to get what you want. You're not inspired. That's what the fight is about. Anyway, in March, rather, there is a meeting of the two. It's two individuals coming together. Sometimes this is, most of the time, this is over drink. This is two emotional people getting together. It follows the Ace of Cups that we have clarifying in February. It's two individuals getting together to celebrate, or not generally to celebrate, that's the Three of Cups. But this is two individuals getting together to drink. Or to break bread together in March. It's a meeting of the two. No. Tell me more. What is this meeting of the two in March? Could be related to the decision that you're having to make in January, or where that time is up and you have to make that decision. You could be meeting with somebody to discuss the decision. It's two heads are better than one. If you see here, they have their heads. They're putting their heads together to come up with that decision. Do you know? You've not been paying attention. Yeah, there's celebration involved. It's interesting that I said that by accident, and then we ended up with the Three Cups anyways. There's a celebration here involved with the two people coming together. It's like there was a delay in two people coming together to have it, to cheers each other, to drink together, to have a drink together, or to break bread together. It was a long time coming, and in March it happens, and there was celebration over it. Tell us more. It's something joyous. It could be about the decision that you're making in January that you need to make by March, that is delivered to you, that you need to make the decision. That's delivered to you in January, that you need to make the decision by March. It has to do with that. 2 and 2 always makes 5. 2 and 2 always makes 5, but this is 2, this is 3, and that makes 5. You've not been paying attention. That's too many cards. Tell me more. Tell us about this. Tell us about it. Come on. You can scream and shout. It's an alleviation of anxiety and worry for you coming out of Nine of Swords energy, sleepless nights. It's something that you initially, or for a long time, you've had a lot of anxiety about, worry, sleepless nights, being up at night like a monkey on your back. Something that you've had a nagging fear, anxiety, and worry over for quite some time. You're able to celebrate because there's a finality to it. There's relief. Because you thought you couldn't come together. More. 10 by 10, 3 by 3. 10 by 10, 3 by 3 was the house that buried me. Ten by 10, 3 by 3. It's a song by the Yeah-Yo-Yeahs. Was the house that buried me? Did I really drown? Justice. This is Libra energy. There's balance and equilibrium that's gained here, but there's also could be over fairness, equilibrium, the regaining of balance in a situation, paying the piper, but also things being put to rights. Being put to rights. That's a part of that song. Put to rights. Yeah, it's something about that too. Always put to rights. January's April showers. And 2 and 2 always makes 5. Anyway, yeah, there's something of justice here with that. You know, I know that the card is justice, but there's something about doing yourself or somebody else justice with this. And the worry and the anxiety is alleviated with that. It's just going to be a second here. One sec. So April. Page of Cups in the reverse we have for April. That's a lack of communication of an emotional nature for you there. January's April showers. That's because January was the April showers. Here you see there's no tears. No tears. Yeah, that's confirmation of that there. Yeah. But no emotional communication. So, or somebody's leaving emotional communication out of it. Let's see why. Leaving the emotion out of communication potentially. January's April showers. Yeah. There's something about putting things into balance, Libra energy on this card, but it's about being the charity or the charitable. Balancing your give and take with someone. Somebody has been giving more and somebody has been taking more, and so there's a lack of emotionality in your communication with someone, or somebody else is being more cold in their communication with you because I feel there's a lack of balance there. Tell me more. What else for April? April for Aries. Eight of Cups in reverse. There's reconciliation, or somebody isn't walking away from something of an emotional nature but coming back to something, whereas normally this would be walking away from something that would have normally been of an emotional fulfillment. They're coming back. There's a return here in April. It has to do with balancing. Cycles repeating themselves. Somebody's phoning it in. So this is the difference. There's more passion in the communication than there is emotion in the communication. And somebody's thinking to themselves, there's another individual who's on thin ice because there's a lack of balance there. It's like, have you ever encountered somebody who isn't saying all the gushy I love yous and all that crap, but they just want to fuck? It's that type of energy. It's somebody who's coming along and they're saying, it's like the guy who wants to, I was going to say cyber. That dates me. The person who wants to sext, but they don't want to talk about their emotions for you. And they're coming back around, and there's a need to balance that. There's a need to temper the energy there that isn't happening. Somebody's giving more than they should be. Somebody's taking more than they should be, and there's a need to balance that energy. And during April, there's a resurgence of that. The lack of emotional communication is self-evident, but even though they're on you've got their eye on them, knowing full well that they're on thin ice, but they seem to be doing like this circus act here, walking on stilts on thin ice, with their passionate communication, coming in, saying some pretty hot stuff, even though it's lacking the emotional quality that's required. So there's that. Yeah. During May, you have the Queen of Pentacles. This is up a ladder. You're getting all the Radiohead today. Up a ladder. I'm stuck in the TARDIS. By the way, that's from Doctor Who. I'm stuck in the TARDIS. Yeah. 1 minute Snake Charmin. Yeah. This is Capricorn energy, the Queen of Pentacles. Ambition. The person who takes a house and turns it into a home. They're the one who comes in the door and lights the scented candles, turns on the music, makes the good meal, make sure the bed has the good sheets, and creates that warmth within the home that makes it a home and not just a house. There's also ambition and determination. You see here the climbing up the ladder. All right, feminine Capricorn energy there. Let's see in May what this is. Somebody who always has their eye on the prize, always looking up to the next biggest thing, ambition here. Tell us more about this in May. What is this with the Queen of Pentacles in May? Somebody's looking at it like, where is your ambition? They're looking at it like they're seeing somebody, and there's a comparativeness about where is the ambition, where is the determination. Like there's a lacking of ambition and determination, and there's a comparativeness to where that was the case with somebody else. Like we can look at that Rainy Sound by Matt Good. It talks about, I love your rainy sound, I love the way you bounce back. Let's see here. Yeah, and it's almost like there's a lack of interest, a loss of interest, depression with that Four of Cups in the upright. Somebody who has all the cups of wine, but they don't give a shit that they even have wine. Somebody who takes advantage of the fact that they have not only all of these cups, but cups that are being handed to them from the universe. Taking advantage of the ability to be ambitious. Lackadaisical energy, depression, a feeling of loss and abandonment that somebody just can't let go of. But yeah, for lack of a better term, a loss of interest and a lack of ambition. It's like somebody is depressed to the point of laziness. They lack the ambition, and somebody is looking at an individual, seeing this and comparing it to somebody else who's always been able to bounce back and has ambition and has the ability to see the worth in small things. Where somebody's tossing the wine off the balcony going, yeah, whatever, it's just fucking wine, who cares? And somebody else is just like, I've got wine and I can be grateful for that, And that's just an example, of course. Let's not take it literally, but, see. Spill the wine, dig that girl. Tell me more. Tell us more about this. Why the Queen of Pentacles? Why the Queen of Pentacles in May? Seven of Swords in the reverse. A lack of treachery. Somebody doesn't feel like they're doing a balancing act or sword swallowing, but also the lack of treachery, the lack of tricks being played. They realize where there was always forthrightness and honesty. There's honesty in this. There could be the feeling that even though there's a lack of interest, depression, a feeling of loss, grief, and abandonment that this person is embodying, that they're being honest about their feelings. And that might have an endearing quality to it for someone. That although they don't see them embodying that ambitiousness, that determination, the ability to create a home space as comforting and loving from the luxury and finery headspace, that there is an honesty about them and about how they're feeling that's endearing. Second month in a row we have endings not happening. This is the Death card in reverse, Scorpio energy. Somebody feels like something isn't ending. There's a lack of transformation, the inability to transform something or end something so that new things can begin. And that could be why there's that feeling of depression, like that undercurrent of depression, because something can't be ended. Something cannot be put to rights. New things cannot begin because old things have not ended. There's something here about not having the room to say new things. There is this book called The 3 Laws of Performance that talks about this, not needing to say what needs to be said so that there can be room for new dialogue. That's me paraphrasing, but it's from The 3 Laws of Performance. And do not leave anything unsaid, because when we leave things unsaid, there is no room for new things to be said. Something like that. I think that's what's here for me. You have a lot of things not ending. Your overall energy is the World card in reverse, and then we also have the Death card in the reverse and the 8 of Cups in reverse. So there's unfinished business here, particularly during the spring months. For June, you have the Queen of Swords in the upright, Libra energy. Balance, equilibrium, justice, things being correct, right and correct, perfect and right. In June, let's see what we're seeing being brought to justice or being done correctly, or the ship being righted. Why? This is somebody who's intellectual. Somebody who sees things from a very black and white perspective. And during June, there is a view that is very black and white. There is no room for gray. It's either right or wrong. And there's a need for things to be correct and right, accurate, and fair. That's another thing that during June comes up, is what is fair. And it has to do with the absence of investment of the energetic or material nature. 7 of Pentacles is about investment of the energetic or material nature. What have you sown that bears fruit? And where are you tending to it appropriately so that you can reap the low-hanging fruit at first, but tend to it appropriately to see it through? There's an absence of that. During June, it could be that there is justice to be served to those who have not invested appropriately with their time and their energy and their monetary resources. More. Tell me more. Like, who has been investing in you and in your time and in your endeavors, and who hasn't? Up to this point, what we reap, we must sow. And the Queen of Swords is very cutting with that. It's, yeah, it's, thank you. It's like, when you're gardening, you cut off the dead parts of the plant so that the energy can go to the other parts of the plant. Like the good energy goes where the plant, like the plant's resources, when you have dead parts of a plant, it tries to feed towards those to heal them. And so you have to prune away the dead pieces of the plant in order for the nutrients and the energy to go to the rest of the plant appropriately. And it's very cutting here. The Queen of Swords is very cutting. So when we see this, it's almost like a direct translation that the pruning away of the dead needs to occur in order for the rest of the plant to thrive. So it's almost as if there's a cutting away of the dead weight, a cutting away of the things that no longer serve because they haven't made the appropriate investment up to now of their time, their efforts, their energy, their resources monetarily or otherwise. So that the energy that you have to expend and the focus and the attention that you have to expend can go to the correct things to further your success, your health, just like a plant. You know, you don't want all of the nutrients, all of the water, all of the sunlight energy that goes to a plant to be trying to feed into an injured or a dead piece of a plant when it should be attempting to bear fruit in other parts of the plant, right? Tell me more for June. The Queen of Cups. And this is another great, confirmation of that, is where with the Queen of Cups, and this is Cancerian energy, which is great that we have it in June, because June 21st is when we turn to Cancerian energy, Cancer Sun. The Queen of Cups is feminine Cancerian energy, highly intuitive, extremely watery, emotional, poetic, but it's an individual who knows when to hold back their emotional resources and their heart space from those who are not worthy of it, and when to provide that emotional energy to those who are worthy of it. Where has the appropriate investment taken place and where has it not? And she will hold back that cup as she deems necessary. Classically, in the Rider-Waite Tarot, this cup has a lid on it, and she removes the lid for those who are worthy of that cup of emotional energy, water signifying emotion. But it's when she so chooses the worthiness of others that that lid comes off. What else? We have two. We're going to take them because we have a rule here with 3 cards. There is a feeling of self-deception here about where one has had their guard up. There could be a realization of where somebody has fallen by the wayside that was making an appropriate investment. They've fallen by the wayside because there has been defensive energy. And somebody has finally had to come out from behind that fence, that berm of wands, in order to see where they've been overprotective of themselves and where they've deceived themselves. 5 of Swords is self-deception. Understanding where somebody has been defensive, overtly defensive. Here, with the 7 of Wands. Overtly defensive, guarded, on guard, and protecting themselves to the point of detriment. Deceiving themselves about who was worthy and who was not, because the appropriate investment was there and absent in other places. And where was the emotional and energetic investment absent? And they were fooling themselves into believing otherwise, whereas there were other individuals who were not getting the recognition for the appropriate investment that they were making. And it's about that fairness with that Queen of Swords, about the fairness and being cutting and visceral with that fairness, the balance and the equilibrium, and serving people justice and doing someone justice for where they invested appropriately and where other people had not. In July, we have the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is the realization after walking away from something that would have been of emotional fulfillment with the Eight, where one had to embody self-love in order to come to a great emotional fulfillment, even a wish fulfillment for themselves. They had to go in search of the Nine Cups, that extra cup for themselves, as opposed to sitting and dwindling away their energy with an Eight. They had to abandon other things and, realize their own self-worth instead, to go in search of what was of greater fulfillment and demand more for themselves. In July, this is what's happening. More than likely during the Cancer side of July, so prior to the 19th, 20th of July. Tell us more. Wish fulfillment is often indicated by this card of an emotional nature. Tell us more. This has to do with work. There could be an emotional, like something that is a wish fulfillment that is of an emotional nature. It has to do with apprenticing energy, work energy, working hard towards something, and finally getting one's due when it comes to that. Tell me more. For July. Tell us about this. You can scream and shout. Somebody is actually going to celebrate something that has to do with demanding more for themselves and realizing their self-worth and getting an emotional fulfillment out of that has to do with work. It's actually going to be something that somebody celebrates where the jubilation is overflowing to the point of wanting to scream and shout. To do that woo-hoo type thing, that yes type thing audibly. It's a success that somebody needs to shout out loud about. Shout it out loud. What is that? Shout it out loud. I want to say that that's like Kiss, and I hate Kiss. Don't hate on me because I don't like Kiss. To each their own, you know? I feel like that's Kiss. I don't know. Anyway. Well, maybe that's what it is you're hooking up with somebody at work. Yeah, and then it leads to this. So it could be a connection with somebody at work that leads to a greater emotional fulfillment on the home front, happy home life. This is the zenith of personal emotional fulfillment. This is the happy family. So it's the realization that in demanding more for yourself and loving yourself, in loving myself, I can love another. That's the whole point of the 9. Then you come to the 10. It has to do with work, though. There's something there that has to do with work or working on something really hard. You could be, like I said, you could be connecting with somebody at work that gets you to that point. Although generally speaking, most Aries individuals are not, I don't know, we'll see. Because they're leaders, they don't often do that, right? Oftentimes, and I don't want to paint you with broad brush, not all Aries individuals are bosses, but a lot of the time they are leaders. Let's see. So they don't often connect with, people they work with so much. We got 2 here. There's a fork in the road and a stalemate, having to choose a direction. Normally the 2 of Swords, there is a choice here that is being made, or a dropping of options of an emotional nature, probably because somebody does see a future and a happy home life on their horizons. With that Ten of Cups, it's already dropped. So they're choosing to drop all other emotional options. After hitting a fork in the road, an impasse with somebody. Normally, the Two of Swords is somebody sitting blindfolded, choosing to turn a blind eye, but sitting with their arms crossed in front of them. That's like a crossroads of sorts where they've decided to drop all other options because there's a realization of where one's emotional fulfillment ultimately lies. It does have to do with work, though. In August, we have the Four of Cups in the reverse. This is somebody coming out of a depressive energy, all of a sudden having interest in things they know they didn't feel they could ever have interest in again, and realizing where the cup from the divine is being handed to them. Something that they were avoiding or didn't notice or turned a blind eye to in the past, and now they're finally noticing it. It's like a depression lifting off of someone. An alleviation of the feelings of grief, loss, and abandonment. Tell us more for August. What we have, Aries? Okay. Knight of Pentacles, Virgo energy. This could be happening at the backside of August. So at the end of summer, last days of summer by The Cure. This is slow, methodical, strategic energy, moving towards something of stability on the monetary or energetic and time side of things. Could be looking at strategically and methodically moving towards providing somebody with an offer. Or somebody is doing that for you. That flipped, but I'm not taking it. Just in case you wondered, it was the Eight of Wands, which would have been a message. Oops. Yeah, so this is about independence, your self-reliance, the ability to stand on one's own 2 feet in a garden of one's own making. Moving slowly, methodically, strategically towards your own feeling of independence. Being able to rely on oneself as opposed to having to rely on others. It's that feeling of, it's not necessarily the need for other people that you're moving away from, but the ability to feel power, that feeling of, personal power. And that you can take care of yourself, And I think that's what helps you. It's like a self-empowerment card. That you're in charge of yourself, you're in charge of your time, you're in charge of your energy, you're in charge of your material resources. What else? I think a lot of the time we tend to avoid talking about it because it's so easy when we look at Pentacles to think coin. Time is money. Time is a currency you cannot get a refund on. So is your energy. And when we expend our energy and our time, it's the same. It translates exactly the same as money. So remember that when you're looking at Pentacles, right? A Queen of Wands in the reverse. This is a rational energy. Be careful. I normally see our queens as cardinal energy. So I normally would ascribe this to an Aries individual who is angry, petty, irrational, volatile, over emotional, jealous in the reverse. Normally would be a leader, but is somebody who is passionate to the point of poison. You have a sense of self-empowerment and a feeling of power over this, that you're independent and you have the ability to be slow, methodical, and strategic in your action while you're observing somebody who is volatile, irrational, over-emotional, passionate, but on that fire that burns rather than the fire that warms side of things. And you can look back and you can see where you used to embody the energy of somebody that was scorching, that was volatile, and how you have changed and you've evolved, rather, to a place where you are able to sit back and do things from a more mature space. You have evolved and you have personal power and you have self-reliance and you have the ability to be that 9 of coins individual, the one standing in the garden of their own making. Whereas this individual here is about ready to burn their fucking garden down. And they don't care. In their anger and in their volatility and in their jealousness and in their greed, they'll burn their whole fucking garden down and maniacally laugh while they're doing it. You see where you prevail over that energy and you have gained self-mastery over that, and where you're observing as an outsider where there's another individual who lacks that within themselves, lacks the personal power to do that for themselves. And it's almost like I can actually hear the thoughts, the internal dialogue of somebody saying that they could just sit there and all you can do is shake your head as you watch. Because you remember being in that space and you know how to navigate those feelings, but you can't interject, you can't interfere with someone's own personal process and personal growth. And if they avoid addressing that within themselves, it's not for you to intercede. Thank you, that's the word I'm looking for. It's not for you to intercede and teach them how to take care of their emotions and control themselves. It's self-development and that's the reason we call it self-development, because it does have to happen within the self. It's not something that someone can tell somebody else and they just do it. It's not something that you can teach someone else. It's something that must be learned within. It's an internal dialogue that has to occur. There can be reminders and all this other stuff, and you can provide people with feedback, but that personal development has to happen within. Leading by example only works to some extent, and with an individual who was volatile and jealous and attention seeking. And the reason that I mentioned initially that normally I see this as an Aries card because it's a Queen of Wands was because in the reverse sometimes I see this as Leo energy, and even in the upright I can see this as Leo energy. But particularly in the reverse I can see this as Leo characteristics, because it's about somebody who's jealous that they're not and greedy about the fact that they're not getting the attention, or angry over petty things. Somebody who does not have a self-control when they are angered, does not have self-mastery over their emotions. And that's not to say that an underdeveloped Aries wouldn't also have that. But the fact of the matter is that you're already showing me here that you have a lock on those things for yourself. You're viewing this. And it's almost as if with that 4 of Cups in the reverse during August, you're grateful. You can see in others who you used to be. And there's a lifting of depression because you can see where you've come from and how far you've come. You can see your evolution, and you can see where you've gained this. I don't even know how to say it. Even I don't know how to kind of how to articulate it any more than that. That you see, you're observing this in other people who you used to be. And it gives you the feeling of gratitude for the work that you've done, the internal work that you've done. And how you now have the personal power that other people are still lacking. September, we have the 7 of Pentacles in the upright. We'd already talked about the 7 of Pentacles down here in the reverse. This is investment. This is personal investment, monetary investment, energetic investment, investment of your time. You see how it's an abacus. It's somebody who's counting up where they have, it's the person in the counting house. figuring out where they have put their time, their energy, their money, where they've dedicated that, where they can now invest further, and where it's time to cut their losses. And that's happening during September for you. Tell us more. Why the Seven of Pentacles in September? Appropriate investment. It's you're asking yourself, what is the appropriate investment? Is this the appropriate investment? Have I invested appropriately? I don't know that it's a money thing, though. It might be a time thing. The Fool in the reverse. You're trying not to take risks with your investment. This is you. This is the Fool is the zero. It embodies human beings in the archetypes of the major arcana. This is you, but it's you in the reverse. You're not trying to be adventurous or spontaneous with your investments of your time, money, and energy. You're attempting to use careful forethought and be, like I said before, with that Knight of Pentacles, strategic in your investments, rather. Again, with that abacus, it's a really great illustration of that you're trying to weigh things up and be careful in your decision making, as opposed to foolhardy. Trying to make sure that the things that you make decisions on aren't overtly adventurous, overtly spontaneous, that you're not taking risks. It's the difference in between, and I'm not a huge investment person. I really am not. I could care less. Which is counter to, being a Capricorn. But it's a difference in between high risk, high reward investments and low risk, medium yield investments and that kind of shit. Do you know? So you're not going to go put all of your savings into Bitcoin anytime soon just because you heard that, next month there could be like a massive yield on Bitcoin. You know what I mean? You're not going to go and just because you heard that, SpaceX is doing great this month, you're not going to go dump all your savings into something when you could lose it all in a heartbeat if something goes wrong because it's fucking space. Do you know what I mean? You're trying your best to be very strategic, very measured in your decision making about your investments in September. You know that there are a million ways to kind of approach it that aren't necessarily going to get you all of the riches in the world. However, at the same time, you aren't looking to lose everything in a heartbeat just because you wanted to get, a couple $1,000 more dollars. Or, you get it. I don't want to go on ad nauseum about it, right? What else? Tell us more. September for Aries. I just saw that. I saw it twice. 8 of Wands. You could be getting a communication of truth. I just saw the Ace of Swords twice. Communication of truth. Come on, tell us more. Yeah, there's a truth. You're not looking at investing in something that isn't... So, this is about crying over spilt milk. So, there's an investment that you may be looking at where in the past you didn't take the risk and you missed out on something. And during September, it's going to come back around where you have an opportunity. And there's a little bit of regret here over things that you lost out on with the 5 of Cups. And you're like, oh, if I would have done this, it's the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And you're looking at all that could have been. However, I would keep my eye on the prize here. Remember the 2 cups that you still have, that their remnants are intact rather than the cups that are spilled. You could also not be looking at taking risks because in the past you had an investment that didn't pan out and you lost a bunch. exercise gratitude in that regard, and remember that you don't want to take risks, but you don't want to live in the headspace of not moving at all simply because something terrible happened in the past. No change is no progress, right? So, I mean, obviously, if it's a financial thing, you don't want to just, go off like a moron and do things without advice. But you want to make sure that you're also not allowing your past errors and decisions keep you from moving at all, or color your decision making to your detriment. Anything else on September? That was quick. Yeah, stay connected with the earth. Try to be creative in your thinking. Remain grounded. This is a warning to remain grounded, connected with the earth, Taurus, Libra energy. After, it's going to be the latter half of September where you're going to especially need to remain grounded, connected with the earth, centered in yourself. You might be feeling stagnant as far as your creative energy goes. This is a good time, again, like I said, to connect with nature, to go out into nature, because your decision making will be far more on point if you are more connected with yourself, and sometimes quieting your mind and getting away from the technology, from the mundane world where all you have is the trees, the birds, the water, and your thoughts. That'll really help to inspire you further to make decisions from a more centered space where your dialogue is with you and only you. Venus energy on that. Something with September and Venus. Look where September 2025, where Venus is. And in relation to your chart, I'm not an astrology person. I'm not crazy about that. Well, it's not that I'm not crazy about it. It's just I don't follow it to the point of being extremely poignant with it, right? Like I'm not an expert on that shit. For October 2025, just hold on a sec. Hi, yeah, sorry. For October 2025, you had 3 cards actually come out. The Chariot in the upright, the Magician in the reverse, and the Temperance card in the upright. There's movement forward. Could be a change in address for you. It's my relocation card just for me personally as a reader. Cancerian energy. Then we have the Magician in the reverse. Gemini energy, a trickster, illusory energy, somebody who's putting up false fronts, somebody who does not have mastery of the self and therefore cannot master the elements, as well as just somebody who's putting up illusions, somebody who you cannot, what you see is what you do not get. And then the Temperance card, which is healing, spirituality, but also travel, higher education, and the tempering of 2 things, Sagittarian energy. We could have here a Cancer, Gemini cusp individual, so somebody who's born right around the June 20th, June 19th, June 20th mark, or something of significance that happens that you can hearken back to around the May-June point that we were talking about earlier, or flash forward to May, June of 2026. But there is a relocation here, or travel, movement forward and progress. I would watch for that trickster energy as well. And the need for healing. The need for healing of something. Let's hear it. Let's see what we have here. Movement forward, movement on from somebody who was putting up a false front, or that you just couldn't believe what they were saying because it was all bullshit, and healing from that. Healing as a result, like you've moved addresses, moved houses, traveled somewhere as a means of healing and moving on from something where you thought you could believe something and it really wasn't what it was cracked up to be. You were fooled into believing something that it wasn't. Tell me more. Tell us more for Aries. movement or travel. Okay, we have the Lovers, Gemini energy on that. There's a choice in love. What else? Moving in with a lover, choosing to move in with a lover, choosing to travel with a lover. A choice in between two lovers, but there's caution here because one of them is not who they seem to be. And then the healing once the realization occurs that one person is not who they seem to be. Gemini and Sagittarius are counterparts as well, by the way. Hey, so this could be a time thing where you're dealing with Sagittarius, Gemini on the wheel of the year. I'm ruled by time. I'm a Capricorn. I have like a four placement stellium in Capricorn, so time is like a big thing for me. Time is like a broken watch and make money like Fred Astaire. Take me on a cruise. You could be going on a cruise in October. My God, will he sail me to Norway? A trip to Norway? Or a Scandinavian country with a lover. There's an illusion, a trick. Somebody is putting on a false front, or somebody is trying to fool somebody into believing one thing, but it's an illusion. There's an illusion here. Could be a surprise. You're making, like, you're trying to make somebody think that there's something going on one way when it's not, and there's something going on, or a surprise, so you have to fake something. I don't know. Page of Swords in the reverse with, so there's impatience, decision in love, impatience, and then turning a blind eye. A choice in love that you were impatient over. And then ignorance is bliss, turning a blind eye to something, not watching. Willful ignorance. Ignoring something on purpose. It's like you know that somebody isn't who they say they are, or you know that there are illusions that you have to heal from. When you're relocating, this could be about what you're relocating towards, or traveling towards, or moving forward towards. You know that it's not what it seems, and you have to heal from it, but you're turning a blind eye to it for some reason. There's a choice in love that's happening here. You're impatient, and so you're making the choices based on haste. Also tempting not to communicate impulsively about your impatience. Why won't somebody make a choice already? Could be moving away from something in order to heal because you felt slighted or fooled. And you're avoiding looking back. Making the choice and not looking back. Because you want to move on. You want to move on, but you're impatient about it. You're impatient about your healing. Just want it to be over with already. All right. Bottom of the deck. This is about your wish fulfillment and feeling that you haven't had wish fulfillment. And trying to love yourself. And like a feeling of betraying yourself. You're trying to avoid that in the future. Remember, we had that Three of Wands in the reverse was your overall energy also before. Like here. It was your overall energy. You're impatient about realizing the self-worth that you have. And wish fulfillment. Alright, that's what I've got for you. I don't like to promise too much, but you know, if I get around to it, I'd like to be doing. I have a spread that I created that I'd like to do this month if I get around to it. It's going to be a love spread. And I don't normally do just love readings. I kind of do general stuff, and whatever comes out, because that's what's going to happen anyway when you do tarot. But I'd like to do that if I get through everybody. I still have 5 readings to do for the year wheel of the year. So I'm going to try and do that. As you can see, this is like, we're doing like hour and a half readings for the wheel of the year reading. So we'll see what I can do. Anyway, thanks for watching, Aries, and we'll see you when we see you next. Okay, bye.